Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya 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 da da da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da. Ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Shana Tova. Wishing you all a very happy New Year and Ruchim Habaim, welcoming you to this place, to this ohel, to this tent, with visibility of the mountains that we lift our eyes up to. I came across the vivid landscape of this place that so many of you have chosen to call your home. And yet others of us, myself included, come to just be in awe. Truly, the word norah, the word awe in our tradition could not be better used than in this place. When we look up to the mountains and that we know that there is in this life full of so much impermanence, so much mystery, so much not knowing, that there is absolutely a permanence, a fixed way in which the land directs us. I invite you into this Kol Nidre service. I invite you to disconnect from any technology you might have brought with you. Unless you're an emergency room physician, need to be contacted during the service, or you're a parent and you need to be checking in at home. I invite you to have the freedom of just turning off that connection to the outside world and to bring your focus, your kavanah, your intention to where we are right now. What I've brought to you is a service that I created 16 years ago for the first time, when I knew much less about our tradition, and still in its many revisions, including the one that I did this week to prepare it for you. And I hope you like the Great Dane, who has joined us for Dagnan. So I have prepared this specifically with you in mind, and I asked us to turn together to page 2 and to the part that is in bold. So as we enter this space and join together in community and prayer, let us take aim directing our heart, focusing our intention, and cultivating kavanah. You're welcome to take these service booklets home with you. There's more in them than we will get to tonight, so you'll see little things by the side. And if you're not engaged with the liturgy tonight, feel free to just move through this siddur, this machzor, this prayer book that we have for Kol Nidre. We are a people of the book and a people of the heart. Tonight we begin with both. In the images of this holy day, Judaism emphasizes that life is a book that we open and write in as we wish. We can use our time on this earth to be tzaddikim, to be righteous people, performing mitzvot throughout our entire lives. Or we could wallow in self-pity and anger, selfishness and egocentricity. I think there's probably something in between those 2 points. None of us is really a complete tzaddik, a completely righteous person, and none of us, I hope, is a completely self-absorbed and angry person. We have a spectrum that we move along, and most of us are what the Kabbalists called Beinoni, the in-betweeners. On Yom Kippur, the liturgy emphasizes that the choice is ours, who we are to be. Yom Kippur teaches us to take responsibility for our wrong actions, and it empowers us by teaching us that only we can correct our faults. These tasks are not easy, and Yom Kippur is teaching us that only we can do this. Yom Kippur is not designed to be easy. We examine the frailty of our existence, the composition of our character, how we have failed to meet the mark, and how we can improve. This is hard work, yet even more difficult than examining our faults is finding it within our hearts to forgive ourselves. I don't know how many of you are harder on yourself than you are on other people. If you are, please raise your hand. Most of us could really use a little bit of self-compassion, maybe a lot of self-compassion as we move through this heavy day of Yom Kippur and this time of year when we're doing teshuvah, when we're re-aiming and recalibrating. And I really invite you to take this time, even if you don't get to all of your phone calls or reaching out to people to ask for forgiveness. I know that I haven't gotten to everything before I get through tomorrow, but there are opportunities throughout the year to do teshuvah, and just because the gates of this 10-day period close tomorrow night with Ne'ilah and Havdalah, there are plenty of opportunities for us to be reminded throughout the year and to do little acts of teshuvah throughout the year. I invite you to turn with me on page 3 to the word hashivenu. We have these words of returning us to the divine, to the divinity within ourselves, the sacred within ourselves. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Vena Shuva, Vena Shuva, Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu Kekedah. There are many ways that we define teshuvah throughout the days of awe. The heart of the word is shuv, is turning. Teshuvah then is to return. And this season gives us many opportunities to practice that. We have words at the bottom of the page that were written initially by a number of different people, usually attributed only to Shlomo Carlebach. And I invite you into these words of return. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Benashuva, Benashuva. Chodesh, Chodesh, Yameinu Gekedah. So, for Yom Kippur and for Rosh Hashanah, about Shuvah, Utfilah, Tzedakah. That these three things, penitence, tefillah, prayer, tzedakah, says here charity. It's really not caritas, charity, but tzedakah is a of oneself. And yet, these are the things that we're told will modify, will ameliorate the decree that God has in this book of life that is open. I invite you to look at Shuvah as a demand for honest self-scrutiny and reflection, a process between me and my own self. Tefillah, prayer, as more expansive, an embodiment of my relationship with the divine. And tzedakah is this way of regulating my relationship with my fellow human being. I give tzedakah in a hope that somebody else will be able to do the things that they most want to do. Together, these three elements, the individual, the divine, and the societal, constitute our entire existence as believing beings. Despite the fact that Jewish prayer is codified in a fixed form, we can take the time out on Yom Kippur to make the set liturgy more meaningful by adding our own improvisational prayer and modern liturgical elements. We have here on page 4 something that I've lifted from one of my favorite books of the season. If you haven't seen it, it's very obvious when you open the book like this. On the entire book across the back, it says, "This is real, and you are totally unprepared." And that is the name of this beautiful book by Rabbi Alan Liu that takes us from the 30 days of Elul, the month before, actually starts us at Tisha B'Av, and takes us through 40 days of preparing for the Hagim, for the Yamim Noraim, these days of awe, and then through the days of awe. And I'd like for us to just go around and read paragraphs of this. It won't be as good for those of you at home because I'm the only one with the microphone. But I would love for us to be able to pray a little bit more communally this evening. So I'm going to ask that that somebody take that first paragraph and just begin to read. If two people read at the same time, then that person, one person will take the second paragraph, and we'll just go through that way.
The way of Yom Kippur is to accept our imperfection. This is what Yom Kippur is all about. We accept that to be human is to be imperfect, to be broken. We don't have to try to cast out our brokenness or project it onto someone else. We can fix it. We can repair it in the context of our own lives.
The way of Yom Kippur is to realize, like Isaiah, that we are all part of a whole, and that we move toward the light of God when we behave this way, when we care for each other, when we realize in our flesh and bones that our own happiness depends on the happiness of everyone else in the world.
When we experience the sense of the world, we realize that every need in the world is our need. Nature always takes care of the next need. The forest replenishes itself. The T cells in our bodies strive to heal. It is our opportunity to align ourselves with this healing.
All of us together. Compassion heals. Loving kindness heals. Justice heals. Meditation heals. Prayer heals. The Sabbath heals. Yom Kippur heals.
All these activities reinforce each other, depend on each other, and taken together, they purify us of our delusions of separation and its attending sense of absurdity. They impart a sense of the sacred to us, an immediate sense of our connection to everyone and to everything, and the imperative for engagement with the world which flows out of this sense.
So purified, we simply take care of whatever is in front of our face. We simply answer the immediate need. It is our need. When we are hungry, we eat. And when we are tired, we sleep. When someone else is hungry, we feed them. When someone else is homeless, we find shelter for them.
We return to our separation. If we ignore them, we only darken our own world. Better to pick up the broken shards of our vessel and begin to piece them together again. We are all broken vessels, yearning for the light.
We bring through this. Thank you all for reading. And there'll be more opportunities for that as we move through the service. We move into the light now, the light of lighting candles, and in recognition of where we are and the tremendous source of Ruach Elohim, the spirit breath of the world that we're feeling through wind, we won't be able to light the candles and have them stay lit, but I would like for us to at least go through the process of bringing in light to one another. So we have tonight memorial candles. Did anybody else bring a memorial candle? Okay. Did anyone bring any objects that you want to put with the memorial candles? So we light a candle of zikaron, of remembering. Thank you. And we remember the people who are not with us anymore in body, but the people who, through the thin veil that is between this world that we're living and whatever is beyond this. We know that when we bury our dead, we're very visceral about that, and we place them in the ground and we place them in a wooden box so that they can return to the earth. And we go together to do this, and we shovel dirt onto the grave. And when we did this for my mom, some of her very good friends who are Catholic or Lutheran came with us, and they had never experienced, may have been to Shiva, but they had never experienced being at the kever and this very visceral experience. And so that is how we place the bodies of those who have died into the ground to become a part again of life. And yet there is more within us than just flesh and bones. We are also this incredible breath of life that moves through us. And that part of us, I believe, the soul part of us, continues to be a part of everything around us. So even as we have lost our loved ones to death, we also have their memory, and memory is such a potent and powerful of the way we celebrate in Judaism. We never have a celebration without also that memory with us. So tonight, as a community of the living, we remember those who are not with us tonight by lighting a memorial candle. And I invite you to come up if you've brought a memorial candle. If I brought one, I'm happy to, if somebody really would like to light with me and Erin. Thank you. Here's a here. And then we have the blessing for lighting the candles for Yom Tov. And I want you to take a moment and look at these candles right here and imagine yourself lighting the flame, and see the flame, and we'll sing together the bracha, the blessing for the lighting of candles. And you have it here. I wanted to bring to you both the traditional blessing, the traditional language that we're used to, the masculine, and also bring to you blessing language that I use in addition to the traditional that is gendered feminine. And I invite you to offer your blessing as I offer mine, and I'm gonna sing my blessing in the feminine. Bruchat ya Shekhinah Mekor Chayim Asher Shatnu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu Lehadlik ner Shel Yom Tov. We wear a talit in the morning, traditionally. We often will wear a talit if we're leading a service or we're doing something where we want to. I will use my talit often when I'm at a protest and feel the need to first identify myself as a rabbi, but also to be enwrapped in the sense of being protected and being sacred. So we place a talit on our bodies on Kol Nidre. It's the only evening of the entire year that we wear a talit. And so we wrap ourselves in a garment, just as it says that God wrapped God's self in a garment of light. We get to the Kol Nidre service. And what I have brought to you is both the traditional chant of Kol Nidre and also in my community we had a cello that played the Kol Nidre. We don't have that tonight, but there are usually 3 repetitions of Kol Nidre traditionally, and the 3rd repetition that I've brought you is a communal reading that I actually found in a Jewish humanist service many, many years ago. I really like this. So for that, we'll need one person to be reader Aleph, one person to be reader Bet, Gimel, and Dalet. So 4 readers for that Kol Nidre. So thinking about those readings coming up. And when we recite Kol Nidre, we open the ark and we say together on the top of page 6, for transgressions against God, the day of atonement atones. But for transgressions of one human being against another, the day of atonement does not atone until they have made peace with one another. And I invite somebody who feels called to come up and open the ark to do that. And then we're going to need somebody who feels particularly strong this evening to hold the Torah throughout the recitation of Kol Nidre. Come on up if you're that one of those people. Great. Judy, will you open the ark? Judy's caught on her chair.
I am caught on my chair.
Almost.
Oh well.
Or Zarua Latzadik, Or Zarua Latzadik, Or Zarua Latzadik, Uyishrei Lev Simcha. Invite you, if you're not rising, to rise as we take the Torah out of the ark. Kol Nidre Nefarei Ve'acharamei Ve'konomei Ve'chinuyei Ve'kinusei Ushvuot Din Darna Udei Shavana Udah Hari Shvikin, Shvitin, Betilin uvatani, Nasheririn vala. Let's do the communal reading together. We begin as a community. All vows, bonds, devotions, promises, obligations, penalties, and oaths, wherewith we have vowed, sworn, devoted, and bound ourselves from this day of atonement to the next day of atonement. May it come to us for good. In the event that we forget them or were coerced to make them, they shall be absolved, released, annulled, made void, and of no effect. They shall not be binding, nor shall they have any power. The reader.
Kol Nidre is a chant of self-forgiveness.
No testament is restricted on punishment. We bless ourselves in defense of self-application.
We are responsible for ourselves, for each other, for the world we live in.
Yet we corrupt the earth and devour the land. We have despoiled Eden. The flowers fade and the birds are silent.
How glorious are you,
Yet we find poverty in the midst of wealth, injustice in the shadow of privilege.
Great is the work of humanity. Great are cities and nations.
And yet the dead of distant battlefields do not speak of glory.
We are powerful, we rule in space, but we look upon our works with sorrow.
We acknowledge our imperfections, although we aim toward lofty heights. Temptation binds us to earth.
Greed and vanity blind our eyes, envy and arrogance control our thoughts. False ambition too often determines our path. Let us learn from the errors of yesterday in order to fulfill the tasks of tomorrow.
Kol Nidre, chant of ages, chant of Israel, chant of sorrow, chant of human imperfection, measuring the throbbing heartbeats of a people bowed in anguish, who in far and diverse lands and times poured their souls into this music.
Generations set their motif out of trials, hopes, and yearnings, yet it teaches variations to your theme and to your pages. We can hear the lamentations of the ages and today. When we hearken with our hearts tuned, we can see revealed before us heroes, martyrs, saints, and scholars.
Kol Nidre, chant of ages, chant of pain and chant of pathos, mingled with that note sorrow vibrant measures trill and quiver, rise into a great crescendo with the G's undying spirit. As the Torah is lifted high, symbol of faith and vigor, notes of joyous exultation crept into your mournful.
While our hearts beat to your rhythm, stir us with new dedication.
Like the chant of Kol Nidre, rise our prayers to heaven ascending, for a certain cease of human sorrows, for the dawn of peace and freedom, when all hearts are purged of hatred and all people stand together.
How many of us have fulfilled all that we have vowed? Who among us has not broken a heartfelt promise? Therefore, let us stay together.
I hereby forgive those who have hurt me, whether deliberately or by accident, as I forgive and pardon fully those who have wronged me. May those whom I have harmed in any way also forgive and pardon me. And may I not willfully repeat the wrongs I have committed in the past. May compassion and justice light our days. May compassion and justice light the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו בזמן הזה. All honor to you. You may be seated. We're not welcoming Shabbat tonight, so we're going to move ahead through the pages to the bottom of page 10. We have this opportunity to begin the Shema and her blessings. We begin with the call to worship. Here, but here in this very central part of our service, we say, yes, we have come here from different places. We may have slid in and yet not totally been present, but now we are present and we are here to call out the words of Shema and these central blessings of our wisdom tradition. So I invite you to rise for Baruch. Et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Vaed. Be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv arabim b'chochma poteach she'arim. ובתבונם שנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיכם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה דולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. Blessed are you who makes the evening fall. Let's continue in English. I'll read the first paragraph and we'll read together the second paragraph. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta. Unending is your love for your people, the house of Yisrael. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. And therefore, O God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot. Day and night, reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days. Then your love shall never depart from our hearts. Blessed are you who chose Israel in love. When justice burns
and love becomes willing sacrifice from us. When the last full measure of selfless devotion, we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness. Then your goodness enters our lives, and we live with our hearts, and we with righteousness behold your presence.
Invite you, if you're wearing a talit, to gather the fringes, those most disparate places. And if you are not wearing a talit, I invite you to metaphorically gather those places within yourself that are at odds with one another, perhaps, and yet come together as one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Let's continue together these beautiful words written by the poet Marge Piercy. This is her Shema and V'hafta. Hear, Israel, you are of God, and God is one. Praise the name that speaks us through all time. So you shall love what is holy with all your courage, with all your passion, with all your strength. Let the words that have come down shine in our words and our actions. We must teach our children to know and understand them. We must speak about what is good and holy within our homes. When we are working, when we are at play, when we lie down, and when we get up, let the work of our hands speak of goodness. Let it run in our blood and glow from our doors and windows. We should love ourselves, for we are of God. We should love our neighbors as ourselves. We should love the stranger, for we were once strangers in the land of Egypt and have been strangers in all lands of the world since. Let love fill our hearts with its clear, precious water. Heaven and earth observe how we cherish or spoil our world. Heaven and earth watch whether we choose life or choose death. We must choose life so our children's children may live. Be quiet and listen to that still small voice within that speaks in love. Open to that voice, hear it, heed it, and work for life. Let us remember and strive to be good. Let us remember to find what is holy within and without. We have a couple of other ways of saying Shema in here. I invite you to take them home and experiment with those. And we're going to skip the Emet, the Emunah, as it's written specifically for Shabbat. Not the real Emet, the Emunah, but this one here. And we'll continue in the middle of page 14 with Mi Chamocha, which we'll also do in the trope of the High Holy Days. And if you have a moment for the Mi Chamocha, I invite you to stand up and look behind you at the setting sun and the mixing, the Ma'ariv Aravim of this day that starts with Kol Nidre. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha netar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot osefela, Malchutecha ra'u, Vonecha bokeh Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Elianu ve'hameru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. We used to be afraid of the evenings. It was a scary time, and for some of us, maybe it still is. And for that, we have in our liturgy the Hashkivenu. You don't have to stand, but if you're comfortable standing, you can. If you want to sit, I mean, for some of us, we might be warmer standing up. So just do what is comfortable for your body. And this is the Hashkivenu that I introduced on Rosh Hashanah, Erev Rosh Hashanah, and I'd like to, now that you have the words in front of you, I'd like you to join me for this Hashkivenu. These are just 4 words from the opening lines of this tefillah, this prayer, and then a little bit, Ufros aleinu sukkah shalom, spread over us your sukkah of peace. We are told by tradition that we rush from breakfast, we rush home to build our sukkot. That we are so excited to have this holiday. And I have to say, as a kid growing up in the congregation where I grew up, Sukkot was not such a big deal. I think we were exhausted after the Hagim, and Sukkot was something that we did at the temple, but we didn't do in our own homes. And as I have learned more and more about Sukkot and have built my own Sukkot, my own Sukkah, and Sukkot, the plural, it's really like the Jewish Christmas. We get to decorate, and we have these beautiful lights like we have here, and it's a whole festival of 8 days. So I encourage you to, if you haven't considered Sukkot your holiday, to look into that and see how that, try it on. So we have this prayer, Hashkivenu, with Sukkat Shalom Nacha, right in it. Hashkivenu ya Eloheinu le'shalom. Hashkivenu ya Eloheinu le'shalom. Let's doing that. Hashkivenu ya Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu ya Eloheinu leshalom. So you're going to hold that part. Hashkivenu ya Eloheinu leshalom. Ufroseleinu sukat shalom achol. Ufroseleinu sukat shalom achol. Hashkivenu ya Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu ya Eloheinu leshalom. We continue on page 15. Hituli sharet tzedek avovam odeya. 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 I invite you to either move out into your own personal Amidah, or find just a place in yourself for this evening's Amidah. Slow me down, Adonai, by the quieting of my mind. Steady my hurried pace with a vision of the eternal reach of time. Give me, amidst the confusion of my day, the calmness of the everlasting mountains. Break the tension of my nerves, sing music of the singing streams that live in my memory. Help me to know the magical restoring power of sleep. Teach me the art of taking minute vacations, of slowing down to look at a flower, to chat with an old friend, or make a new one, to pat a stray dog, to watch a spider build a web, to smile at a child, or to read a few lines from a good book. Remind me each day that the race is not always to the swift, that there is more to life than increasing its speed. Let me look upward into the branches of the towering pine and know that it grew great and strong because it grew slowly and well. Slow me down, Adonai, and inspire me to send my roots deep into the soil of life's enduring values, that I may grow toward the stars of my greater destiny. Oseh shalom bimrama, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Invite you to sit, or if you wish to remain standing, I just want to make sure that if the folks at home are looking at something, they're not seeing somebody's back. So we come to our Ashamnu. It's actually a vidui when we, with our last breath, we say Shema and approach death. There is a vidui, a confession that is made, and there are lots of beautiful viduis that have been written. It's a really lovely practice of acknowledging and letting go. And we have within the vidui for Yom Kippur a number of times Ashamnu. For those of you who know Hebrew, or if you even know just a tiny little bit of Hebrew, you know that the part that tells us whether it's first person, second person, plural, singular, all of that, comes at the end of the word. So Ashamnu, it's about our misdeeds, all of ours, and we confess these as a community. So I'm going to offer to you an Ashamnu that is a back and forth. I'll say a word, you'll repeat that word, and you have all of the words of the Ashamnu on page 17. We're not going to go through it in English, but this is a tune that actually the tunes that we use in our Ashkenazi tradition for something that is really powerful and important and really sometimes awesome is actually a tune that is in the major key. So it always sounds like it's something really happy, and our happy stuff is often in a minor key. So it sounds like it's sad, but it's not. This is the tradition of our people, was that we had the major key, major, like, you need to take note of this. So the Ashamnu actually is in a major key, and this is a tune that was written by a man whose name I forget. Citron is his last name, so almost like a fruit. And he's a math professor in in St. Louis, but he wrote this tune for Ashamnu, and we'll all be able to do the Yai Dai Dai, and then there'll be this call and response of the words of the Ashamnu. Yai Dai 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 Dai. Yai Dai Dai Yai Dai 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 Dai. Yai Dai Dai Yai Dai 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 Dai. Yai Dai Dai Yai Dai 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 Dai. Ashamnu Bagadnu Gazalnu Dibarnu Tofi Ada Yai Dai 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 Dai. Yai Dai 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 Dai. Hevinu Vehirshanu Zadnu Hamasnu Tefalnu Shaker. Ya Dai 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 Dai. Yai Dai 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 Dai. Ya Atznu Kizavnu Latznu Mararznu Niatznu Serarnu Avinu Pashanu Sararnu Kishinu Oref. Ya Dai 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 Dai. Yai Dai 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 Dai. Rashanu Sechatnu Tiavnu Ta'inu Titanu. Ya Dai 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 Dai. Yai Dai Dai Yai Dai 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 Dai. The Ashamnu is an acrostic. The liturgist gave us acrostics because long before we had services that were printed out, or even machzorim or sidurim that were printed, books that were printed, we had to remember these things. And one way to remember things is to have an acrostic, which we are going to skip, unfortunately. And we're going to move all the way from this tradition of saying what we've done wrong to thinking of it in the positive. So I invite you to join me on page 20 for this alternative to the Al-Chet Shechatanu, for these misdeeds that I have done, that we have done, is usually how we go through this. But I brought you this evening something called For the Mitzvah We Performed. And what you'll see is that there are a lot of mitzvot that we have performed, and then at the in breaks in between, you'll see bold type, and that we say together. And this is new liturgy from Rabbi Joseph Telushkin. Many of you probably have a book in your library by Rabbi Telushkin. And let's go around together. Oh, my talit has been blown off. Let's go around the kahal, around the community, and each of us will take one of these for the mitzvah we performed. If you don't want to read, just let the person next to you to the other direction know that you're not going to read, so that they will read. And I will begin, and then Judy will go to you, and then we'll weave back and forth. For the mitzvah we performed by remembering the good another had done for us, even when we were upset with him or her.
For the mitzvah we performed by feeding our animals first, even when we were also hungry.
For the mitzvah we perform by stopping our child from teasing, humiliating, or calling another child by a hurtful nickname.
So we perform by standing up for justice when we saw another mistreated.
For the mitzvah we perform by refusing to buy products produced by child labor.
For the mitzvah we perform by remembering to thank and express gratitude to anyone who insults us. For the mitzvah we performed when we heard the ambulance siren and offered a prayer to God on behalf of the sick person inside.
For the mitzvah we performed when we provided food or money to a beggar who told us he was hungry.
For the mitzvah we performed by donating charity cheerfully.
For the mitzvah we perform by apologizing to one of our children whose feelings we had unfairly hurt.
All these things, God, please remember and inspire us to do more such acts during this coming year.
For the mitzvah we perform by blessing our children on Shabbat and on the Jewish holidays. For the mitzvah we performed by returning a lost object to its owner.
For the mitzvah we performed by visiting a sick person and offering emotional support to him and his family.
For the mitzvah we perform by helping someone to find work.
For the mitzvah we perform by teaching our children Torah.
For the mitzvah we perform by ourselves studying Torah.
For the mitzvah we perform by teaching our children that what matters most to God is how we treat other people, God's children.
For the mitzvah we performed by hearing a negative rumor about another and refraining from passing it on.
For the mitzvah we perform by refraining from snapping at the person who has chosen to share our life.
All these things, God, please remember and please help inspire us to do more such acts during this coming year. For the mitzvah we performed by being compassionate and forgiving those who have hurt us and who seek our forgiveness.
For the mitzvah we perform by helping a developmentally disabled person find work.
For the mitzvah we perform by not unfairly exaggerating the bad traits of those with whom we disagree or whom we dislike.
For the mitzvah we perform by striving to arrive on time even when it was difficult to do so as not to keep another person waiting.
For the mitzvah we perform by interacting with non-Jews in a manner that brings credit to the Jewish people.
For the mitzvah we perform by accepting responsibility for the wrong we have committed and by not blaming our bad behavior on someone else. For the mitzvah we perform by asking those who have hurt for forgiveness.
For the mitzvah we performed asking the storekeeper the price of an item when we had no intention of.
For the mitzvah we performed by staying in close communication with our elderly parents.
All these things, God, please remember and please help inspire us to do more such acts during this coming year.
For the mitzvah we perform by not using words such as always, e.g., you're always inconsiderate, and never when we are angry with another.
For the mitzvah we have performed by not making comments that can inflict irreparable hurt on one whom with we are angry. For the mitzvah we performed by restricting our expression of anger at another to the incident that provoked it.
For the mitzvah we performed by reserving our highest praise for our children for when they have done good deeds.
For the mitzvah we perform by arranging to donate our organs.
For the mitzvah we perform by expressing gratitude on an ongoing basis to those people nearest to us.
For the mitzvah we perform by helping a person in an unhappy frame of mind to laugh.
For the mitzvah we perform by treating our children and spouse with the same courtesy and attitude of forgiveness
we extend to guests who visit our house.
For the mitzvah we performed by donating the money we did not spend on food on Yom Kippur to a charity that feeds the poor.
For the mitzvah we performed when we were tempted to do something hurtful or dishonest and refrained from doing so.
All these things, God, please remember, and please help inspire us to do more such acts during this coming year. We have Avinu Malkeinu, the words of Avinu Malkeinu, but with different English. For some people, the words Avinu Malkeinu, which mean our Father, our King, are deeply meaningful to us in the Hebrew because we're so used to singing those. And those words we have sung sitting next to our parents, sitting next to our loved ones, a spouse, a beloved great aunt or great uncle, a beloved child. These are the words that really resonate with us. And you have other words that are there, and I invite you to take this home with you and try those on for size. What does it feel like to say these words with different honorifics for the divine, who of course is neither a father nor a king, and a father and a king, and all other sorts of things. We give the divine personified names because those are names that we can relate to, and yet the divine is so large. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu ve'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'choshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu ve'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim. And as we turn to page 23, we remember those who have been with us in this life and for whom we are still here to bring forward their memory. I want to share with you, rather than this lovely poem by Nicholas Gordon that you have, I want to share with you one of my favorite poems, and this is a book called The Art of Blessing the Day by Marge Piercy, who has written many, many poems, some that relate to her Jewish background and some that are just beautiful poetry. And I offer you this, her Kaddish Yatom, her prayer, her Kaddish. Look around us, search above us, below, behind. We are part of a tapestry woven through time. Let us praise, let us love the life we are lent, passing through us in the body of Yisrael, own bodies, and let us say Amen. Time flows through us like water. The past and the dead speak through us. We breathe out our children's children. blessing. Blessed is the earth from which we grow. Blessed the life that we are lent. Blessed the ones who teach us. Blessed the ones we teach. Blessed is the word that cannot say, the glory that shines through us and remains to shine, flowing past distant suns on the way to forever. And we say, Amen. Blessed is light. Blessed is darkness. And blessed above all else is peace, which bears the fruits of knowledge on strong branches. And we say, Amen. Peace that bears joy into the world, peace that enables love, peace over Israel, everywhere, everyone. Blessed and holy is peace. And we say, Amen. Those are her words of Kaddish. You can hear the cadence, the Amen that we say to the different paragraphs of Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish, really the Kaddish of the orphan, is what Kaddish Yatom means. So I invite those of you who have lost someone to death in the past year to please rise. And who are you saying Kaddish for? Your mother. What's her name?
Faye.
Faye.
Betty.
Your mom, Betty.
My niece, Katie Ann Tannenwald.
Dear friend Shirley Felton.
I invite those of you who are observing a yahrzeit or for whom it is your custom to stand for Kaddish Yatom, stand. And it's good to have people who aren't standing because those are the people who really hold down the Amen in this community. And we will say it slowly so that we can all say it together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash mei Rabbah ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechal beit Yisrael v'adala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudusha richu le'ela ule'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushvechata v'nechemata Zamiran v'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru Amen. May the blessing of peace, may the presence of the memory of our loved ones bring comfort to all who mourn. We'll conclude tonight. We actually don't conclude the service on Kol Nidre. This is the beginning of a 25-hour day when the gates are truly open, when our hearts are open, when we have the opportunity to really both be introspective and to reach out to those we want to connect with, to make sure that as we come together in community, that we have the opportunity and the comfort of being with one another. It is such an honor to be here with you. It has been an extraordinary 2 weeks of my life. And the fact that you gather as a community in this place, in these beautiful places of Kalispell and Whitefish, and the scenery that is all around you, the opportunity to reach out to each other and to reach wherever you reach for the divine, for the holy sparks that exist within each of us, within everything on this earth, and that many of us see as being both transcendent, both above us and immanent within us, that divine, that holiness. I invite you to do no more than just look to the sky, look to the mountains, and make each day a day like today, and this year that we have ahead of us, a year of rest, a year of release, this year of Shemitah, making sure that you take those times, not just on Shabbat and not just on Yom Kippur or the Yamim Norim, but the times that you have in the Harim, in the mountains, to really release and to allow yourselves to be at one, to appreciate the opportunity for at-one-ment. Tomorrow we'll come back at 10 a.m. Do not come at 9 because you'll be cold and alone. At 10 o'clock, we'll come together for our morning service, and then we'll have an expanse of time to just be wherever we find ourselves. Some of us have things that we must do, but I really hope that some of you will really take the time tomorrow to just be. And then we'll come back together at 6 o'clock for, it says in the email that went out today that the service will go from 6 to 7:30. It will not. We'll come back together at 6 o'clock. We'll do a little bit of a creative service, and then we will break the fast together. If you're very machmir, if you keep the day of Yom Kippur until the sun sets and you see 3 stars in the sky, or 72 minutes after sunset, whichever happens to be tomorrow, then you won't break fast with us. But for those of us who gather together, we're going to break the fast just a little bit early, so that we don't get so cold together, and so that we can gather as much of the community as possible. So I invite you, let's just go around one more time with these words of Hu Ya'anenu, He Ta'anenu. You'll find that in the midst of here, there is, may you answer us, which is what that means, He Ta'anenu, the Yom Karenu, Hu Ya'anenu. That we'll all say together, but let's go around. We'll start in the back this time. So I will start, and then I'm going to pass it back to you, and then we'll zigzag up to the front. Thank you so much. You who answered Sarah in the palace, may you answer us.
You who answered Abraham at knife point, may you answer us.
You who answer Rivka in her outcry, may you answer us.
You who answered Yaakov in the river, may you answer us.
You who answered Hagar in the desert, may you answer us.
You who answered Ruth in the gleaning, may you answer us.
You who answered Abimelech at the wellspring, may you answer us.
Coming forward.
You who answered Noah with the rainbow, may you answer us.
Together, may you answer us, may you answer us. He ta'anenu ve'yom karenu, Hu Ya'anenu.
You, go ahead.
You who answered, may you answer us.
You who answered Moshe at Mount Sinai, may you answer us.
You who answered Eliyahu at Mount Horeb, may you answer us.
You who answered Hannah when she whispered, may you answer us.
You who answered Shipra and Pua, may you answer us. You who answered Yehonatan and David, may you answer us.
Judy?
You who answered Mordecai and Esther, may you answer us.
You who answered Deborah and Mayor, may you answer us.
May you answer us, may you answer us. He ta'anenu vayom karenu, hu ya'anenu.
You who answered Doctor of Bat 12, may you answer us.
You who answered Henry the
You who answered Sally Presand, the first female rabbi in 1972, may you answer us.
You who answered Rosa Parks, may you answer us.
You who answered King and Heschel, may you answer us.
You who answered Ida Nudell, may you answer us.
You who answer in every generation, may you answer us.
May you answer us, may you answer us. He ta'anenu vayom karenu, hu ya'anenu. That is by my teacher, Rabbi Arthur Wasco. I wish you all a meaningful fast if you are fasting. I also encourage you, just as we started with self-compassion, to really be kind to yourselves. I'm not drinking coffee, but I am drinking hot water. And I encourage you to take care of your body, mind, and spirit over the next 23 hours. And I look forward to seeing you in the morning, those of you who can be here. And I wish you a really, we say, Gemar Chatima Tova. May the way in which you are sealed into the book of life, may it be for goodness and for blessing. Laila Tov.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm still gonna try.
Hi, Lori. I'm Ira.
Yeah.